The laughter started before dessert was even served. Crystal glasses clinked. My father's retirement dinner sparkled with expensive wine, polished silverware, and relatives pretending we were one big successful family. Then my brother raised his glass. "Here's to the people with real careers," he joked. "Not online activism and political fantasies." The table laughed. Even my father smiled. I sat there quietly, forcing myself not to react, because after years of hearing the same comments, I had learned something painful. Sometimes the people closest to you only respect dreams once strangers start applauding them first. My name is Claire Mitchell, and that dinner changed my life forever. For years, my family treated my work like a phase. They called me dramatic, too ambitious, the difficult daughter. While my brother inherited opportunities, support, and praise, I built my career from folding tables, late-night meetings, and volunteers knocking on doors in the rain. I wasn't born into influence. I earned every inch of it. But to my family, I was still the woman playing politics. That night, my mother leaned toward me during dessert and whispered, "You could still go back to consulting, Claire. Public service isn't really stable." I smiled politely, not because it didn't hurt, because I already knew something they didn't. Earlier that evening, the governor had called me personally, and by morning, everything would change. The next day, headlines exploded across the state. Claire Mitchell wins historic Senate victory. The first independent woman in state history to win the seat. My phone wouldn't stop ringing. Reporters, volunteers, supporters, people who believed in me long before success made it fashionable. A few hours later, I stopped by my parents' house for a scheduled visit with one of my father's longtime business associates. When we walked into the dining room, my family was still eating breakfast. And then something happened I'll never forget. My father's boss looked directly at me, smiled warmly, and said, "Good morning, Senator Mitchell." Silence, complete silence. My mother nearly dropped her coffee cup. My brother stared at me like he didn't recognize the person standing in front of him. And suddenly, the same career they mocked the night before became impressive. Funny how quickly respect appears once the world validates what your family ignored. But honestly, that moment didn't feel satisfying the way I imagined it would. It felt clarifying. Because I realized their approval had always depended on status, not understanding, not belief. Status. Later that morning, my brother pulled me aside. "You know we were only teasing," he said nervously. I looked at him calmly. "No," I replied. "You were minimizing me. There's a difference." That conversation stayed with me for a long time, not because I wanted revenge, but because it forced me to confront something deeper. How many people spend years shrinking themselves just to stay accepted by the people around them? After taking office, I focused on the work itself. Education reform, transparency laws, community funding, the same issues my family once dismissed as idealistic. And slowly, people started listening. Not because I became louder, because I stopped apologizing for caring. Meanwhile, my relationship with my family became complicated, more respectful, but also more honest. For the first time, they saw me as someone independent from their expectations. And maybe that was necessary. A few months later, my father visited my office privately. He looked older somehow, quieter. After a long silence, he admitted, "I didn't think you'd actually make it this far." I smiled softly. "That was never the problem," I said. "The problem was that you only valued success once it looked familiar." He didn't argue, because deep down, he knew it was true. Over time, something unexpected happened. Young women started reaching out to me online, students, single mothers, first-generation professionals. Many shared the same fear, that their dreams felt too big for the people around them to understand. And every time, I told them the same thing. You don't need permission to take your own life seriously. Because that's the lesson my journey ultimately gave me. Not how to prove people wrong, How to stop needing their approval in the first place. Today, I still serve publicly, but my proudest achievement isn't the title. It's the Leadership Academy I eventually opened for young women who've been told they're too much, too loud, or too ambitious. The entrance has a simple message engraved near the doors. No one waits to be chosen here, they choose themselves. And maybe that's the real heart of this story. Sometimes the people who underestimate you aren't seeing your limits. They're revealing the limits of their own imagination. And sometimes the most powerful moment in life is finally realizing you were never small at all.